Sai Satsaretheram In Short Part 1. Long ago Chandbai, the headman of a village called Dukhed in Aurangabad, had lost his horse in a forest. He was searching for it when he heard a voice say, "What are you looking for in this forest, Chandbai?" Chandbai turned around surprised and saw a young fakir smiling at him. Chandbai wondered how the fakir knew his name. After Chandbai had recovered from his surprise, he said hesitantly, "I have lost my horse. I have looked for it everywhere, but could not find it." The fakir told him to look behind a clump of trees nearby. Chandbai was pleasantly surprised to find his horse grazing peacefully behind the trees. He thanked the fakir and asked him his name. The fakir said, "People call me Sai Baba."
Nothing certain is known about the origins of Sai Baba. He never mentioned anything about his parentage, his birthplace, or where he had grown up. It is believed that Sai Baba arrived in the village of Shirdi in the Ahmednagar district of Maharashtra when he was just 16 years old. Sai Baba stayed in Shirdi for 3 years. During this time, he led an ascetic life and meditated sitting under a neem tree on the outskirts of the village. Soon, he aroused the curiosity of the villagers. Some religious-minded villagers started visiting him regularly. However, unlike the villagers who respected Sai Baba greatly, the village children considered him demented because of his unusual behavior. They threw stones at him. After staying in Shirdi for 3 years, Sai Baba abruptly left the village, but returned a year later. It is still a mystery where he had stayed during the time of his absence. Sai Baba returned to Shirdi with the wedding procession of a relative of Chandbhai, the headman of Dhupkhede village, whom Sai Baba had helped some time earlier. The bride belonged to Shirdi, and so, the marriage party was going there. Chandbhai had invited Sai Baba to accompany the marriage party. When the procession reached the Khandoba temple in Shirdi, the priest recognized Sai Baba and greeted him. So, Sai Baba started living in the village of Shirdi. He spent most of his time wandering in the village and the neighboring thorny forest. At other times he was absorbed in meditation, often forgoing food and even water. However, the villagers did not find his behavior strange anymore, and so did not interfere in his activities. At that time in Shirdi, there lived a woman called Bayaji Bai. She was very kind by nature. Bayaji Bai walked for miles into the forest in search of Sai Baba, carrying food for him in a basket on her head. Often, she would find Sai Baba sitting under some tree in deep meditation, calm and motionless. When Bayaji Bai would see Sai Baba, she would boldly approach him, serve him the meal and then return home, content. After some time, as though out of sympathy for her, Sai Baba stopped wandering in the forest and moved into a broken-down mosque on the outskirts of the village. He named the mosque Dwarkamai and stayed there till his last day. Once, cholera had spread in Shirdi as an epidemic. The local administration was unable to control the disease. At last, some villagers approached Sai Baba for help. At once, Sai Baba went to a nearby house and picked up a grinding stone. He also got hold of a sack of wheat before he returned to the mosque. Quickly, Sai Baba placed the grinding stone on the ground and began grinding the wheat. Confused, the villagers thought, "Why is Sai Baba grinding wheat, when he does not possess anything to store it and lives only on alms?" Meanwhile, the news of Sai Baba grinding wheat spread and villagers started gathering around the mosque. Suddenly, 4 women pushed Sai Baba aside and began grinding the wheat themselves to help him. While the women were grinding, they thought, "What will Sai Baba do with the wheat flour? Perhaps, he will distribute it amongst us." So, without consulting Sai Baba, they divided the flour into 4 parts and placed the flour in 4 baskets after the wheat was ground. Seeing this, Sai Baba grew very angry. He shouted, "Why are you stealing the wheat flour? Have I borrowed the wheat from you?" The 4 women were ashamed. A little later, Sai Baba told them calmly, "Take the flour and sprinkle it on the borders of the village." At once, the women obeyed him. Surprisingly, once the wheat was sprinkled around the village, the cholera, which was taking away many lives, began dying out and gradually disappeared. When Sai Baba was a saint who is respected by both his Hindu and Muslim followers alike. Some Hindu followers think that he was an incarnation of Lord Shiva. His followers often tell stories of the many miracles that he used to perform for the benefit of his followers. Sai Baba, in his lifetime, had always been against the evil practices that were prevalent in both Hinduism and Islam. Although he himself lived like an ascetic, he instructed his followers to lead an ordinary family life. Sai Baba encouraged his devotees to pray to God and read the holy scriptures regularly. It often happened that Sai Baba used to visit an inn meant for Muslim visitors who reached Shirdi village at night. There, in the company of devotees and fakirs, Sai Baba used to sing and dance in divine bliss, with small tinkles tied around his ankles. He usually sang in Persian or Arabic, but sometimes, he sang Kabir's songs too. It is believed that Sai Baba was very fond of lighting lamps in the mosque and in the temples of the village, every evening. Usually, the shopkeepers gave him the oil that he needed to light the earthen lamps, but one day, they rudely refused him, saying that there wasn't any oil in their shops. Sai Baba quietly returned to the mosque, and placed dry wicks in the lamps. Meanwhile, the curious shopkeepers had followed Sai Baba and watched him with interest. Sai Baba took some water in a tin which contained a few drops of oil. Then, he filled all the lamps with this water and lighted them. Miraculously, the wicks started burning. The shopkeepers were awestruck. At once, they fell at Sai Baba's feet, asking for forgiveness. Baba readily forgave them and said, "Do not lie. Falsehood displeases God." As the year went by, Sai Baba's fame spread. More and more devotees came to Shirdi. The people started worshipping Baba like God. He accepted it all, but continued to beg like a poor fakir to the end of his life. He shared the food which he had collected by begging with poor people. It was also his habit to share what was left over with stray cats, dogs and birds. Sibba says that remember, all of us are children of the same God, our Creator. If you help the poor and needy, then God will surely bless you. So always be kind to others. Das Ganu was a faithful devotee of Sibba. One day, he asked permission to leave Shirdi to visit Pandharpur. Baba said, "Why do you want to go, Ganu? For your Shirdi is Pandharpur." Ganu thought that Lord Vithal is not here. The next movement to his surprise, Ganu saw Lord Vithal in the form of Sai Baba. Then he realized that Baba is a Lord Vithal. Shirdi is Pandharpur. Many people realized and felt that Sai Baba is a form of all God. Whenever you see as your favorite God, he appears in the form of it. Importance of Udi. Slowly the people of Shirdi began to respect Sai Baba's. When sick people came to him for help, he cured them with medicines which he prepared from herbs. Sai Baba treated everyone alike. He made no distinction between the rich and the poor. He knew no caste or creed. He even served lepers. As years went by, the crowds increased. Sai Baba created ashes medicine. He cured everyone with this sacred ash which he kept a sacred fire aflame in the mosque and distributed its ash to all who came to him for help. Sai Baba's Udi, which one pinch of Udi is mixed with glass of water and drunk it. It helped the people to cure all their mental, physical health problems. According to Hindu traditions, it is considered sacred to take a bath in the Prayag Sangam at Allahabad, where the holy rivers Ganga and Yamuna meet. Once, a follower of Sai Baba named Das Ganu decided to go to Prayag. He came to Sai Baba to seek his permission for the visit. After hearing him, Sai Baba said, "It is not necessary to go so far. Our Prayag is here." Then something wondrous happened. The moment Das Ganu placed his head on Sai Baba's feet, out flowed the Ganga and the Yamuna from Sai Baba's toes. Seeing this miracle, Das Ganu was overwhelmed with feelings of love and adoration for Sai Baba. At once, he burst into a song in praise of Sai Baba. Dhaksane, if you go for a visit, whether it is to a god, a king, a saint, or a guru, you cannot go empty-handed. You have to give something, such as money or fruits, as dakshina. This serves a lot of good benefits to those who offer it. So, Sai Baba insisted on following Thana Dharmam. By doing this, their souls become pure. Sai Baba asked for dakshina from a few devotees, which helped them overcome their karma. Sometimes, the dakshina money was returned to those who gave it to Sai Baba, multiplied by 100 times. Another type of dakshina Sai asked from his devotees is 2 coins. 1. Faith, Nishtha. 2. Patience, Saburi. By submitting these 2 to Sai, it helps fulfill their material world needs. It is believed that Sai Baba always knew about the events that were happening elsewhere. Once, he was warming himself near a fire. As he was pushing a piece of firewood into the fire, suddenly, he thrust his arm into the fire. A couple of devotees saw this. At once, they clasped Sai Baba and dragged him away from the fire. "What were you doing, Sai Baba?" they asked, puzzled. To this, Sai Baba replied calmly, "Far from this place, a blacksmith's wife was working near a furnace, when her husband called her. Forgetting that her infant child was on her lap, she ran hastily and the child slipped into the furnace. I merely thrust my hand into the furnace to save the child." A millionaire named Booty came to Sai Baba. He wished to construct a stone building with a central hall for Sri Krishna. Booty planned a building. Sai Baba said that I will go and stay there when it is ready. The building work was started. Booty realized what Baba had meant. Before the building was completed, Baba fell very ill. He grew weaker and weaker. On 15th of October 1918, his condition became critical. At Rome, he sent most of his devotees away with heavy hearts. The devotees left, only a few remained. Sai Baba took out 9 rupee coins from his pocket and gave them to Lakshmi Bai, one of the devotees. These coins are signify the 9 forms of bhakti. These 9 coins are still worshipped by Sai devotees. Baba breathed his last. Shirdi was plunged in grief. Booty's stone building came to be known as the Samadhi Mandir. Sai Baba was buried there and a beautiful shrine was built over it. He will live in the minds of his countless followers forever through his immortal teachings. He preached that one should always lead a moral life, should help others and treat everyone with love. He also advised that faith and patience should be cultivated by everyone. Shiridi Sai Baba was an Indian guru, yogi and fakir who is regarded by his devotees as a saint, god. Sai Baba remains a very powerful and popular saint in India and is worshipped by people around the world. It is actually Baba himself who has pulled the thread that had tied up the feet of the little sparrow. The true reason for this is that the devotee has entwined his soul with Baba and has been worshipping him with all his heart and soul. If you seek advice from him, he will answer it. One who surrenders to Sai, he takes care of everything. Akilada Kodi, Paramada Naika, Rajati Raja, Yogi Raja, Parparama, Shri Sachitnand Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki Jai.